Ever met someone who gets you, like they've cracked the code to your soul? What if I told you that person is probably hiding way more than you'll ever realize? Behind their quiet smiles and thoughtful advice lies a maze of secrets, fears, and contradictions. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the INFJ, the rarest personality type, and exposing the 10 things they'll never tell you. Buckle up. This isn't your average personality analysis. 1. I'm emotionally exhausted, but I'll never let you see it. Imagine carrying a backpack filled with everyone else's emotions. Every time someone vents to you, it's like adding a brick to the bag. INFJs are built this way. They absorb stress, anger, sadness, and even the unspoken vibes of a room. While they'll sit patiently as you cry about your breakup or rant about your job, inside, their mind is screaming, "I need air." But they won't tell you. Because they feel guilty for needing space. They'll convince themselves, if I take a break, I'm letting people down. This emotional overload forces them into a cycle of hiding. They might cancel plans last minute, disappear for days, or give short replies to texts, not because they don't care, but because they're running on empty. Picture a phone battery at 1%. They retreat to recharge, often through solo activities like journaling, walking in nature, or binge reading novels. But even in solitude, their brain won't shut off. They'll replay conversations, worry about others' problems, and criticize themselves for not handling life better. The truth? INFJs need more downtime than most, but they'll never admit it. They'd rather suffer in silence than risk looking selfish. 2. I've mastered the art of faking normal. INFJs are the ultimate actors. At work, they'll laugh at their boss's boring jokes. At family dinners, they'll nod along to political rants they disagree with. On first dates, they'll stick to safe topics like hobbies and pets. But deep down, they're screaming, "Let's talk about the meaning of life instead." This isn't fake, it's survival. They mold themselves to fit into any group, fearing that their true self is too weird or it's too intense for others. This chameleon skill starts young. Many INFJs learn to hide their quirks after being teased for reading philosophy books at recess or crying during a documentary about climate change. As adults, they become experts at masking their depth. They'll downplay their passions, "Oh, I just like writing as a hobby," or hide their spiritual side to avoid awkward questions. But this act comes at a cost. Every time they pretend to be normal, they feel a piece of their soul shrink. They'll lie awake at night wondering, does anyone love the real me? 3. I've felt like an alien since childhood. Most INFJs knew they were different before they turned 10. While other kids played tag, they'd sit under a tree writing poetry or daydreaming about saving the world. Teachers called them old souls, and relatives joked, "You're too serious for your age." But inside, the INFJ felt lonely. They didn't want to be deep, they just were. This outsider syndrome follows them into adulthood. At parties, they'll stand in a corner, mentally analyzing the room instead of mingling. In conversations, they'll hold back their true thoughts, thinking no one wants to hear about existential crises right now. Even in friendships, they rarely feel fully understood. They might have hundreds of social media friends, but only 1 to 2 people they trust with their darkest secrets. The worst part? They blame themselves. Why can't I just be happy with small talk? Why do I overthink everything? I see through your BS. But I'll stay quiet. INFJs have a sixth sense for dishonesty. They can spot a fake smile from across the room, sense tension in a text message, or detect hidden motives in a coworker's nice gesture. Their intuition works like a radar, picking up on micro-expressions, tone shifts, and patterns others miss. But here's the catch. They'll rarely confront you. Because INFJs hate conflict. They'd rather swallow their discomfort than risk an argument. For example, if a friend constantly cancels plans, the INFJ will notice the pattern but say, "It's okay, I get it." They'll justify your behavior, maybe they're stressed, while ignoring their own hurt. This leads to a toxic cycle of giving endless chances. Even if you betray them, they'll think, "Maybe I misunderstood," or they'll change someday. It's not weakness, it's a mix of empathy and self-doubt. They fear that speaking up will make them look judgmental or needy. 5. My daydreams are wilder than you think. An INFJ's mind is like a never-ending movie. They'll imagine entire conversations before they happen, visualize future careers, or create elaborate fantasies about traveling the world. During boring meetings, they're mentally writing novels or planning ways to solve global hunger. These aren't just random thoughts, they're coping mechanisms. Daydreaming helps them escape overwhelming emotions or rehearse for real-life scenarios. But this rich inner world has a dark side. INFJs often compare their fantasies to reality and feel crushed when life falls short. For example, they might dream of a perfect relationship where their partner intuitively understands them, then feel disappointed when their real-life partner forgets their coffee order. They'll beat themselves up for being too idealistic, not realizing their visions are what push them to create meaningful change. 6. I'm terrified of being too much. INFJs are masters of self-editing. They'll write a passionate text, then delete it and send a thumbs-up emoji instead. They'll bite their tongue during debates, even when they're bursting with opinions. Past experiences taught them that their intensity scares people. Maybe an ex called them clingy for wanting deep talks, or a friend rolled their eyes when they brought up climate change. Now, they're haunted by the fear of rejection. This fear creates a lonely paradox. INFJs crave connections where they can talk about spirituality, trauma, or the meaning of existence. But they'll settle for surface-level chats to avoid scaring people off. They'll laugh at your meme while dying to ask, "What do you think happens after we die?" Over time, this habit makes them feel invisible. They start to wonder, if I show my true self, will anyone stick around? 7. I've sacrificed my needs. And I resent it. INFJs are the friends who'll drive across town to bring you soup when you're sick. The partners who remember your childhood pet's name. The coworkers who stay late to fix your mistakes. But behind this kindness is a hidden struggle. They often ignore their own needs. They'll skip meals to listen to your problems, put their dreams on hold to support your goals, or stay in toxic relationships because they need me. Slowly, this self-sacrifice builds resentment. They'll snap over tiny things, like a misplaced dish or a late reply to a text. These outbursts shock everyone, including the INFJ. They'll beat themselves up, thinking, I'm such a hypocrite. I preached kindness but lost my temper. What they really want isn't praise, it's reciprocity. They dream of someone noticing their exhaustion, asking them about their day, or surprising them with support. But they'll never ask for it. To them, needing help feels like failure. 8. I'm secretly judging you, but also myself. INFJs analyze everything. They'll notice if you double-tap sad posts but never check on friends, or if you preach about kindness but gossip about coworkers. But their harshest judgments are reserved for themselves. They'll replay awkward interactions for weeks, cringing at things no one else noticed. 9. I've planned your redemption arc. Even if you've hurt them, INFJs imagine a future where you apologize and grow. They'll daydream about heartfelt conversations where you finally see the light. But this hope can trap them in unhealthy relationships, waiting forever for change that never comes. 10. I'm lonelier than I admit. INFJs often feel lonely in a crowd. They might have a busy social calendar but still crave a connection that goes beyond brunch selfies or office small talk. They want someone who'll ask, "What's keeping you up at night?" and actually care about the answer. Conclusion: INFJs aren't mysterious, they're just misunderstood. Their silence isn't coldness, it's self-protection. Their kindness isn't weakness, it's courage. Behind their calm faces are minds that never stop caring, hearts that never stop feeling, and souls that ache to make the world kinder. If you love an INFJ, don't just lean on them, see them. Notice when they're tired, even if they say, "I'm fine." Ask them weird questions. Let them be messy. And to every INFJ reading this, you don't have to hide to be loved. Your depth isn't a flaw, it's a gift. The world needs more people who feel as deeply as you do.